The deadliest weapon in Greek myth was not always forged in fire. Sometimes it came screaming out of pain. We think of war as a frenzy of blood and iron, but we forget that the most dangerous warrior on the battlefield is the one whose heart does not race. Myths and legends. Athena. When the king of the gods swallowed the Titaness Metis, he believed he had consumed cunning itself. He believed the future was secured. But time passed, and a pressure began to build behind his eyes. It was not a sickness. It was an agonizing, blinding force pounding against the bone of the sky. The pain became so absolute that the king ordered the god of the forge to take up a bronze axe and split his skull open to release the pressure. The blow fell, the skull fractured, and from the bleeding mind of the king, she did not emerge as a helpless infant. Athena erupted into the light, fully grown, clad in gleaming bronze armor, gripping a heavy spear. Ancient hymns say that at the moment of her birth, she let out a war cry so piercing that the sun stopped his chariot in the sky and the ocean trembled. She was the physical manifestation of her father's intellect, weaponized and awake. To walk onto a battlefield in the ancient world was to enter a storm of bronze, dust, and torn flesh. There was the domain of the brother, Ares, the god of war, who reveled in the screams, the chaos, and the mindless hacking of flesh. But Athena brought something far more lethal to the dirt of the front lines: discipline. She did not fight with blind fury. She fought with the shield wall. She was the tactical retreat, the high ground, the calculated strike that breaks the enemy's flank. When she strode into combat, she carried the aegis, a sacred shield of ancient bronze, marked with the petrifying face of the Gorgon Medusa. In Athena's hands, terror itself became protection. She was immune to panic. In the stories of Troy, when she finally clashed directly with the god of war, she did not match his rage. She stepped aside, lifted a boundary stone, and hurled it into his neck, dropping the god of slaughter into the dust. She proved, in blood and bronze, that raw violence will always lose to a superior strategy. But a mind forged for war must eventually find a reason to fight. That reason became the city. The greatest rivalry of her existence was not fought with spears, but with gifts. She stood on the rocky heights of the Acropolis against her uncle, the Lord of the Sea. They were competing for the devotion of the mortals below. The Earthshaker struck the rock, bringing forth a massive spring of salt water, a display of terrifying elemental power. Athena stepped forward quietly. She did not shatter the earth. She knelt in the dry soil and planted a single seed. From the dust grew the first olive tree. It was not a weapon, it was sustenance. It was oil for their lamps, timber for their homes, and food that could survive the brutal summer heat. The mortals looked at the salt spring and then at the tree. They chose the tree. They named their city Athens. She had conquered a kingdom without spilling a single drop of blood. Because she valued the mind over the muscle, she became the patron of mortals who had to survive impossible odds. She did not do the fighting for them. She tipped the scales. When Perseus crept through the darkness toward the sleeping Gorgon, it was Athena who guided his hand, showing him how to use the polished shield as a mirror so he would not turn to stone. When the Greek kings were exhausted after 10 years of breaking against the walls of Troy, it was beneath Athena's shadow that Odysseus and the craftsman Epeus turned wood into strategy. The horse was more than a trick. It was surrender sharpened into a weapon. And when a desperate mortal king, Odysseus, spent 10 years trying to navigate a hostile ocean, she was the invisible current guiding his raft. She is the goddess who stands just behind the shoulder of the hero, whispering the one tactical truth that turns certain death into a legend. Now, the myth becomes a mirror. Athena is not just a warrior. She is the personification of civilization defending itself. She represents the precise boundary between barbarism and society. She is the realization that intelligence without power is defenseless. But power without intelligence is simply a monster. We need her myth because it teaches us that survival is not about who swings the heaviest sword. It is about who can see the board clearly when the world is burning. She is the cold, brilliant light of reason, standing firm in a universe that is constantly trying to drag us back into the dark. The goddess of wisdom rests her spear against the olive tree. The city is secure. The strategy is set. But reason alone cannot heal a plague, and a shield cannot compose a song. For that, the world must look to the east, waiting for the sun to rise and a golden arrow to fly. Myths are not records of the past. They are mirrors of the human mind, passed down, reshaped, and remembered, long after the world that created them disappeared.